Hello, good evening, and welcome to our broadcast tonight. This is Steve Sumner again for Brothers United Against Child Abuse and the Stolen Club. We've merged with Beating the Drums for Children, Becky Campbell's group. As always, I'd like to say a special thanks to John Anderson, our CEO and founder, and to Becky Campbell. If you want to be on the show, you can feel free to contact Becky at beckystribling@gmail.com. You'll see this online. We're very easy to find. You can find us on YouTube as well as at stolen.club. Tonight's guest is Mr. Chavez II. Nick Chavez has a horrific story. It's even hard to read the case. You can find him online. The name of his site is True Justice for Nikolas Chavez III, his little boy who was only 3 years old. This child was brutally beaten. He was beaten to death at the age of 3. According to what I'm reading, he was broken in half backwards. His intestines were ruptured. And there were questions about the trial. During both the trials, it seems the jurors weren't even sequestered. Mr. Chavez is obviously looking for answers. And that's what we do here. We're going to try to do what we can. I urge all of our listeners to look into the site. It's True Justice for Nikolas Chavez III. And hi, Nick. You're on the phone. You there?
Hi, I'm here. Hi, Steve.
Yes.
Thanks for having me on.
Terrific. Hey, thank you so much for being with us tonight. This is a horrific story. It's actually hard for me to read. Your son was so beautiful. I almost, you almost get too emotional to deal with something like this. But as I understand, you've got things going where you have questions about the case, and that's what we're here to do. We want to help you find whatever answers it is that you're looking for. And if you want, start anywhere with your story, man. What exactly happened? What are you looking to do?
Okay, first of all, I want to just touch on what you said just a minute ago, a few seconds ago. My son was such a pure heart of a little soul, very giving. You know, a lot of children, they're like, with their toys, they become possessive at a certain age. My son used to love to give his toys to other children, and you see when the other kid he's playing with, whoever he had a play date with, would take the toy. He would like his fist would be like a little balls, like in the air, like an excitement, like joy, and he'd have a smile on his face, and just just so happy, and he was always so just a great little guy, and he was a great joy. My parents say it was like he was a dream. He was just like here and gone, and he was more beautiful inside than he was on the outside, and that I think alone speaks volumes. He was very smart. I worked special education for 14 and a half years at a place called Eden in Princeton, and I did a pretty good job there, and I was fluent in sign language at the time. I have to catch up on it, but I was teaching Nikolas that, and he was up to about a 17, 18 word vocabulary, and that's amazing. I was very proud that he was so quick to pick that up. But yes, this horrific event happened while I was actually at the harbor school in Eatontown. I was in my classroom, and I get a call, and it's my sister's, and my ex called. I'm going to refer to her as my ex during this whole call, because I can't refer to her with her full name, because I don't want any legal stuff with that, to deal with that. But she called my parents' house, of all places. Not my cell phone, my parents' house, to say that something happened with Nikolas. And it was very, very cryptic. Well, I get a call from my sister who was at my parents' house, and I took it outside the auditorium, and my sister's like, yeah, she called, this is the message, she played it for me, and I listened to it, and my sister's like, it sounds very suspicious, I don't know, very weird. So I called her up, and she goes, yeah, Nikolas had a seizure, Rob's with him, do you want to come to the hospital and get the course? So I went back to my classroom, and that point, the assembly was already over. I went there. It was lunchtime. I was taking my lunch the rest of the day off. And I just had a bad feeling the whole time. A bad feeling. I mean, previous to this, Nikolas was showing every sign of abuse. Him clinging to me when I was trying to drop him off, Steve. He didn't want to go with her. He would grab me with his arms and legs.
God.
And you know what's odd? I don't know if I'd say odd, but it kind of is in a way. Like a baby is usually more attached, a little more attached to the mother than the father. Nikolas was totally, 100% without a doubt, attached to me. He loved being with me. We got each other. I got him. His little funny games, and it was. He had separation anxiety, and when we split, and it wasn't a split that was amicable. It was all on her behalf, and I did everything to try to make it work. She was very. I found out she had a promiscuous occurrence happen when we first started dating, and I found this out about a month after I found out my son was on the way. And at that point, we didn't even know the sex of my son. But I did everything. I mean, I swallowed my pride many times to try to make it work. And it's horrible, like how manipulative and controlling she was with me, where I would beg and plead her, what's going on? He's showing every sign, and she just, no, he's good with him, and that's all I got from her. I never got a straight answer from her, and there was always excuses for any bruises or markings or anything on him, always. And she would always ask me, did he have any bathtub falls? Did he have any bathtub falls? She was saying these dates, and we were marking them down. And then in court, they didn't coincide with the dates that we had written down. But the court, that's a whole other story altogether. They didn't want to hear what we had to say. It was more like protecting my ex, because had she been honest and forthcoming, she most likely would have got that monster's sentence what he got. He was sentenced for 7 years. He should have served a lot more, but he only served 4.5 of that. And that was for me keeping him in. When it was time for parole, my ex didn't do anything. The first time he almost came out after he was locked in, he got locked up in October. It was October 25th, I believe, 2008, and then they sentenced him in 2009, at the beginning of 2009. He almost got out in 2010, September 23rd. And I remember that date is sticks in my mind, because I'm like, why is he getting out? He just got in recently, and what's this? And then I called the parole board, and they said, well, you didn't bother to come in, and your ex, she came in with nothing. She was in for like 5 minutes, and it wasn't enough to keep him in, so we're letting him out. Like, I wasn't notified. They never said me anything, Steve. They never said me anything at all. I just find that very, very peculiar. There's so many things. There's missing evidence. Apply on the mechanical report. It's let me just get a drink of water here real quick.
Yeah, no problem. And as I'm reading, there's an article in NewJersey.com in the news there where this is a little strange, where this man, Robert Knudsen, apparently was the one who was responsible. He was found guilty of endangering the welfare of your son. Is that what he was? Was that his crime, according to the authorities?
That was it. They actually charged him with manslaughter. And to me, Steve, I'm sure you'd agree, murder is murder. And I don't like the way these lawyers mince up the true meaning of what the actual thing is. I mean, had it been a family member of theirs, I'm sure they would have been like, oh, let's go for murder. You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
right.
I don't like the way the system's broken, and there's a lot of times the fathers are in the right, and the mothers get the advantage, and they get to, it's horrible. What it is, I'm not being gender specific. It's got to be revamped, and it's got to work for both. When the mother, they need to get people
Yeah.
Just, the wrong people are getting taken away, and if you look at the statistics, it's scary how many children are murdered, and it's usually by the new boyfriend.
Believe me, yes.
Always.
Oh, and yeah, it's always believe me, I've checked into the statistics, and the stories that we hear right here on the show are staggering. Miami Herald did a series of articles regarding that here in Florida's DCF, and let me tell you, it is horrendous. Nearly 500 kids. Now, to get back to the case, and again, I'm just endangering the welfare of this child in manslaughter. It just doesn't sound right. What, where were you? You had, I'm supposing you had some kind of custody with your child, but
Yes, we
the mother.
custody.
Okay, but this was during the mother's time, of course.
Yes, it was during the mother's, and I would always get called after I drive my son back to her place.
Mm.
And she did live in a very good area she lived in North Brunswick. She lived in, it would just, whenever I drop off, there was suspicious looking people around, and it's like, you were really willing to put your son in that kind of environment, and it just seemed like a very shady neighborhood, and one of the times we dropped my son off, my sister would go with me most of the time because that was the agreement, but unless it was convenient for my ex, then I'm like, well, I can't really go get him right now because I don't have anybody to go with me. Well, okay, you can come by yourself. Like, it was, okay, I guess you're making the law now, but I would more than happily go do it because I was getting my son, and that's all that mattered. So, one of the times we dropped him off, and it was actually probably the second to last time, she didn't come to the door for a little over an hour.
Wow.
That we were honking, and she put a restraining order on me when we separated because I did the natural thing what anybody would do. I yelled at her on the phone, and she just told them he was violent to me. Violent to me would be like me hitting her or something. And I'm actually friends with a lot of my friends. I'm friends with a lot of my exes and their parents and their families. I have a lot of my exes' parents who call me up for Christmas to wish me Merry Christmas, and very good people. And I'm not about. I had a good upbringing. My parents are very good people. I come from, I'm a Bonnie Brad. I grew up all over the world. Very compassionate. I've seen some of the most amazing things in the world, and I've seen some of the most heart-wrenching type of heartbreaking people, like homeless people in other countries. And I've seen a lot. I'm very compassionate. I give a lot. And I give to the wounded warriors. Those guys are doing, an amazing job, and my heart breaks for them. I give a lot. I give a lot back to the community. I'm a band promoter also on the side, and I do a lot of benefit work just to do it.
Doesn't just.
One of my friends, his son he's born with a heart defect, and I helped with the benefit with that, and I gave a lot to that. So, I'm about helping out, and I'm very compassionate, and last thing I would ever do was lay my hand on somebody,
Just to let you know, man, we have had so many informed guests. We see this all the time. For those of our listeners who haven't heard our previous interviews with people like Michael Volti, who is just so incredibly well versed in this type of thing. But what they did to you, what's called the silver bullet technique, where they give you false allegations. For example, here in the state of Florida, if you had, this is the playbook, man. This is what they do to men in divorces, and this is why we are Brothers United against child abuse. And it always starts with parental alienation, with PAS. But the silver bullet thing is right there. Let me tell you that here in Florida, which according to FBI reports is the most corrupt state, but you're supposed to, by the book, by Florida statute, one case of violence, one act of violence, doesn't constitute enough legal basis to grant domestic violence restraining order. Well, let me tell you, they throw that right out. All a woman has to do, and this isn't a gender thing, it's a money thing, but it really is kind of a gender thing a little bit because women do have such an upper hand. All they have to do is they go to the judge and they just say, hey, I'm scared. And that's it. Boom, game over. The silver bullet starts, and that's exactly what you're looking at. So, don't feel like you have to explain that, that you're a good guy. In talking to you previously, I can see this, and what you've suffered is incredible. It is just unbelievable. What I'm wondering here, and this is, how did Robert Knudsen end up watching your kid alone? Because I'm guessing, Nicole, that Nicole Rolston, according to this article, your ex, had the child supposedly in her custody, and this man, her boyfriend, I guess, was looking after the child. Where was she during the time?
You know what? That's a very, very, the question's very good. A very good question. She had said she was taking her brother, who has ADHD, to juvenile court because he was very, he would act up a lot in the neighborhood. One of the stories I remember when I was with her was he pulled a steak knife on some children out in the playground, and he was always in trouble. And that's why I know she had upper hand. She knew somebody in the court system because she's from around that area. But then the other thing she was, I believe, was on the police report. She told them that she was at work, that she was doing something extra at the group home. I'm sure it was, one of the students taking them to a medical appointment. So I don't know what. So that's a very good point very good question that you asked. That's all up in the air. I think I explained to you earlier when we spoke. There's a biomechanical report that was done on the scene of the crime. Yeah,
and for the edification of our listeners, because I'm not familiar with that term. What is that exactly, if you don't mind my asking?
It was explained to us on the phone. It's a computer regenerated scene of the crime. By the way everything's placed, they measure everything. They, from everything from footprints to just everything. It's amazing. It's like kind of like if you see CSI, which is a bit exaggerated, but it's something like that. And that report was never even brought in as evidence. And the team that worked on my son's case were actually the same team that found out how King Tut had died. My son's evidence was sent to Australia. And, that's how much they reached the foul play. And I got the phone call in the new year. It was February 3rd, I believe. And the detectives called. They wanted to speak with me because I'm the father. They're like, Mr. Chavez, please have a seat. We need to talk to you. I want to make sure you're sitting. You're okay. And they were like, well, as suspected and as you think and as we thought before, your son did not die from natural causes. Your son was murdered. And he was broken in half. But they explained everything. And the whole thing is, he was crushing. Like, I knew it already. I don't know if you know this or not, Steve, but I was actually thrown out of my son's wake because I was upset. And I was like, this is not right. I was shooting my mouth up. I'm like, he did it. Why is he in here? Why is he? And he got to sit. They put me and my family, in like a bench behind the killer and some of his family. And I'm sitting like a bench back. I'm the father. And when people are guilty, they usually show like their true colors through their actions. He was trying to be so helpful and everything. And at the end of the day of the funeral, they allowed me back in, by the way. I had to meet my friends out in the parking lot. We're not from this part of the country originally. My dad's retired military. My family's, a lot of them are from New Mexico and California, Texas, out that way, Colorado. So out. And the reason why I was kicked out, Steve, I don't know if you know, like the pallets they put up for the recently deceased. I'm sure you know those. You see those at funeral.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You think out of respect, she'd have one picture of me on. She took up both of them, by the way.
Wow.
And we had to put ours in the back and a little small pallet in the back. She didn't have one of me, but she had one of him. And I knew my son that well that the picture that was up there, he had his arms around my son, and I saw the look in my son's face, and my son was in fear. And I just saw it, and I ripped the picture off. And they're like, you can't do that. I'm like, well, I just did. I know my son, this is not right. Then a few minutes later, like, you have to leave. Then a few minutes later, my ex said that I could come back in, but there was no way I was going to go back in by her permission. So the whole thing was, it was just like, it was horrible. It was horrible. And the next day he was like, oh, let me help with carrying the coffin. And he was very suspicious the whole time. And actually there was a benefit going for my son to help with, get a headstone for him. And I got some bands to go out there to this bar. They just wanted to make it a drinking thing, and I didn't want to make it like that. My son loved music, so I got some bands to go out to this place in Trenton, and it was packed, and they raised a lot of money. I never saw the receipt from that. There was a lot of, she wanted money from me. I'm like, how much money do you need? And I wasn't working then, but my father's like, I'll give some money. What do you need, like, 1,000, 2,000, whatever. So I'm like asking, how much. I'm asking her how much she needs, like, at the wake, and she was like, just giving me, she was giving me like, okay, like, yeah, I'll take that. Meanwhile, the detectives tell us, don't cut her a check at all. The state already paid for the funeral. To me, that's blood money. Why would you want even more money for something that you basically caused? I mean, she lied to me every time about my son's safety. And okay, let's go back to the court thing. The thing I wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I was actually on one thread online somewhere. I was kind of like threatened in a certain way because I mentioned something. And I'm going to say it because it's the truth. And if they want to check the records, there's court records with this on it. Okay, there's this is how guilty that monster was. They went out of their way to hire HBO autopsy, Dr. Bodden, and Geraldo Rivera, I believe is that month before too. They hired him. They sold their house to defend their son. That's how guilty he was. Would anybody, I mean, if you're innocent, you just go up there and, you get some kind of lawyer, obviously, but I mean, to go all that way to sell your house. So this Dr. Bodden, he was insistent that he tried to take it back to like 5 days before. Actually, it was a week before he tried to take it back, and there was a small mark on the back. There's a thing called copper staining when an injury occurs. Like, you could thump your hand like on a counter, and there's, whether you realize it or not, there's actually, I believe it's white blood cells rushing to that area to repair any damage. They eat the damaged red blood cells, and then there's a copper stain right there. And my son had a small amount of that. It was the state doctor, Dr. Nikolas, said it was very minuscule, not even mentioned. That's why I didn't put it in the report. Dr. Bodden was trying to blow it up like that my son came from abuse, and the only abuse that he had was that monster. He was trying to put it back on me that I probably did it, which I had my son on a Sunday, and this happened on a Wednesday. And then they took it back where I wasn't even in the picture. The thing is, they don't want to get me on the stand either, because they know I'd shoot my mouth off and I would say this other stuff. And you're right, the silver bullet, it was all set up. But Dr. Bodden, which it still bothers me, and I would like to get an apology. And not that his apology would mean much, but it would show something. On the stand, he called my son retarded because, first of all, that's not PC. We all know that.
A 3-year-old?
He said, my son probably had the injury. My son's broken half backwards, Steve. And I don't know about you, I said my toe hurts, and if your back is broken backwards, you're not going to be walking around showing those signs of pain. And Dr. Bodden explained it as, Well, the boy was retarded, and that was probably why he couldn't truly express his pain. And a lot of people that are retarded, they have a high tolerance for pain. That just, for him, he's not a psychiatrist. He can't be making that assessment and calling my son that. My son was getting special attention, actually from the same place I worked at previous, this place called Eden, which deals with autism. I don't know why my ex is trying to do this to him, but my son had simple separation anxiety.
Yes.
That's all it was. And it gives a learning disability. And all you got to do is stimulate the brain, stimulate my son, like get his mind going. And I had flashcards for him. I was teaching him sign language, and he was thriving when he was with me. And when he was with her, it just seemed like she was just trying to find somebody to watch him and unload him on.
Yeah.
And she left him along with that monster. He wasn't trusted with him for my son for about 3 or 4 months, and this is behind my back. I didn't know this.
Nick,
after she said no, he wasn't doing anything. I'm sorry.
Nick, hold that thought, because we have come across so many cases where these psychiatrists, these people with a psychiatric degree are just, Lord, you can't even believe how guilty they are of a miscarriage of justice like this. Who exactly is this person that we're talking about? Is he a psychiatrist, and what is his name?
The doctor's name was Dr. Baden. He's supposed to be pretty famous. I've never seen the show Autopsy because I'm not into that whole, I can't see that kind of stuff. And this is even before my son. And after my son was murdered, I couldn't watch anything involving murder or anything.
Right.
I developed a strain. I have post-traumatic stress disorder from it. I still go to therapy for this. I have panic attacks, which I never had before. There's a lot of, it's just, I have a unnatural fear of heights, which is really weird. I could be watching a movie, and if there's like a scene that's like, where it even looks real, even if you know it's not, I get anxiety. And this is all from that. But the doctor that was he was a, what do you call that? Pathologist. He did autopsies. He was an expert on the autopsies. And he examined the evidence. He examined my son, examined the evidence, and he was claiming that it happened a couple days before, and he was just trying, and he had no degree in psychology, and he's trying to say, wait, this is because he thought my son was getting special attention for his, and he didn't even need it for his, separation anxiety from his learning disability, which all it needed was, the cure was just give him more attention, and he would overcome that. He was. But he called my son retarded on the stand, and he was not a doctor to be making that statement, and that's not a PC thing to say.
Well, I mean,
it's not.
The thing that's shocking about that is we are talking about a 3-year-old child, correct?
Mm-hmm.
When
3 years old.
Yeah. Here we have the John Walsh laws, which are 14, which I think that's way too high. But here they excuse all kinds of things. I mean, we're talking just the most severe child abuse because, you can't diagnose this, you can't diagnose that. And a kid that's 12, even though 12-year-olds, I mean, they're out there out of control, raping kids, they're killing, and you can't do it. But I understand in your case, they turned that on its head and called a 3-year-old retarded. This is unbelievable. I'm seeing here, too, that according to this article here, that they're arguing that these injuries were suffered by your son, that were inflicted before he even began babysitting Nikolas. And, I mean, really, wasn't there anyone to counter that? How can he have a broken back and not something that, no one knows about it?
Exactly. They tried to take it back. I mean, a broken back, this is the thing that really, one of the people that took a stand was actually I can't think of the doctor's name. He's but anyway, she said, she examined Nikolas. She's a very nice Indian woman, Indian doctor. She was very nice to us in the court. And when I would take him for his appointments, when I go
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm sure you bathed them when they were little, if they're still little, I'm not sure.
Absolutely. Gave my son, my daughter their very first bath. Yeah, absolutely.
And you stayed with them. You stayed with them the whole time.
Man, let me tell you something. I was the most overprotective dad you could ever imagine. Absolutely.
That's how I was. That's exactly how I was. He had tough falls, massive falls with her countless times that she did he have massive fall? Why are you specifying it as a bathtub fall? He kept on asking me, like every time, did he have bathtub? I'm like, no, he didn't. I'm with him the whole time. If you have a child and see the phone rings and he's in the tub and the phone just like a few feet away and you can get the phone and come back, I can understand where the slip would happen. The baby, my son would have had a fall. Then you think she'd be more prone to be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna have the phone with me again. This is gonna happen again. This is the first and last bathtub fall. But no, there was a bunch of them and they didn't coincide with the dates he said in court. Not at all. So it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, my son never had a bathtub fall with me. I was there with him. I would make sure to get him, because babies when they're little, well, I was a little bit, they're very slippery. When they're wet, I would put the terry cloth around him, a thick terry cloth towel, and I'd pull him out of the tub. Make sure I have a good grip on him. And I was always protective, like you said. I mean, I was very protective. I mean, one time we were at Burger King in town here, and it was his favorite place to go because he loved cars, like cars and trucks, and he loved planes and those type of toys. And there was a race car in the middle of Burger King. It was like a sparkly one. He used to like to sit in there because it was a race car, And there was some guy that he was like an older gentleman, but he's like, your baby's very beautiful. I'm like, thank you, sir. His name's Nikolas. He was, hi, Nikolas, and he was just like lingering a little too long for my comfort. Like, excuse me, sir, I appreciate the compliment, but you're starting to get very making me uneasy. I appreciate if you kept going, please. And he was like, he walked away very, like, that he was something was not right with him. But I was very overprotective. I'm like, not overprotective, protective enough where I knew where there was danger.
No,
It should have been another foot, Steve, with this whole thing, and it was my girlfriend at the time that was doing this. I would have left her. I mean, she had suspicions that he was doing this. That's motherly instinct. When you have that, you're like, okay, this is going on. You're out of the house. But she actually gave him more chances to hit my son, to abuse my son.
Right.
My son was terrified to go. He would kick and scream, and he would call me up. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you talking bad about Rob? Are you talking bad about Rob? You need to respect him. But respect him, he just stabbed me in the back and took you and my son away from me. He used to be a friend, but then his relationship didn't work out with his girlfriend, so he's a very needy person, and he shows every sign of being a sociopath, and I don't know how he's not still locked up. Well, actually, I do know because, I mean, he didn't show up for the parole. The second parole hearing, he didn't show up for because he knew that he looked really bad from not even doing anything here before. I know that there was some kind of agreement, like, I won't go too hard on you in court. She decorated him on the stand, by the way, made me look like a deadbeat, and confused the jury. And I believe the jury reports that I believe the jury there was some kind of money exchange. His uncle, it was explained to us by one of the prosecutors that he seemed to be, on the level of one of our prosecutors, not the one that was pulling the baby stuff with us, but the main one, the big guy. He said, his uncle had deep pockets, and I can only imagine what was going on. I mean, they weren't sequestered. They're free to walk around at lunch as anyone else, and he had talked to his family there. So, the whole thing's changing. My son's case needs to be reopened. My son was murdered. We know who did it. We know Robert Hudson did it.
Mm-hmm.
And he just got away for now, and he posted, I saw one of it. He's actually on Facebook, believe it or not.
Oh, Jesus.
Would you even be on Facebook? You know, but he even posted, he even said something. I'm clear. I'm like, you just thinking to myself, I'm like, you're not clear by me. You're not clear by the actual fight. And I find it very peculiar. And I'm sure all the listeners that are listening to this, when they listen to it, they're going to see, like, why is his father still going with it, and the mother's nowhere to be found or keeping quiet in the church mouse. You know, there's nothing. I'm still fighting. So you know that I'm fighting for a reason. I would love to have another, you know, relationship and have another, you know, at least another baby, and then, you know, hopefully another boy, or even a family. But
Sure.
my whole family's been on pause because of this. We've been, you know, it took me a long time to get where I'm at today, Steve. I mean, I'm ready to get. It took a while. I don't know if you've ever read about John Walsh, what he went through.
Absolutely. Yes.
He went through very dark days, you know that.
That's right.
That's my story. And I feel for him. That's why I would love to have a sit down with him and talk to him and maybe pursue this case and get it open again. It needs to be open. I have a petition up. It's on my son's Facebook page, True Justice for Nikolas Chavez III. And there's a YouTube video I have up. And I'm going to put up another YouTube video with some more information. It's going to be probably just audio of me talking a lot more about this case and how it's been this coming up November 30th, it's going to be 10 years since my son's been taken. You know what? It doesn't get any easier. You just get stronger. You get a thicker skin. And I still cry for my son.
Absolutely.
Things that remind me of him.
Yeah.
I couldn't see the movie Finding Nemo for years. I just bought it recently and sat down and watched it. I still welled up with tears because that was our movie, Toy Story.
Oh.
He never got to see the Cars movie.
Wow,
he was
man.
excited kid. They're showing on DVD. They were showing a preview for the movies. It was coming out in the movies. He wanted to see it. He didn't make it. We were going to go take him to see that. There's just so many what ifs, and we always just sit back and die, you know. And the thing that's really sad is he was my parents' only grandchild, and my dad served in Vietnam. He fought for his country. He's a good man. My parents are good people. My family are good people, and we deserve more than what we've within this. And I mean, I would do anything to get my son back if I could, but we know that's not going to happen. But if I can get justice, true justice for him, that's why it's true justice, because the justice that he kind of got was not true justice.
Yeah. 4 years is nothing.
Yeah.
Nick, let me ask you something. I'm sorry to interrupt, but before we go too far, I did want to find out here because all of these cases, and again, I work with John Anderson, who is amazing. I work with Becky Campbell, another one, over 10,000 followers. These people, we hear these stories all the time. It seems that every story, every tragedy has parental alienation at the heart of it. Can I ask something? On the day of this crime, of this tragedy, did you even get a chance to go over your ex was leaving to go somewhere, she's dropping somebody off, she's leaving the child with a non-parent, which, believe me, I have experience with that. Did you even get a chance? Did you get a phone call saying, hey, I can't do this, can you come pick up your son?
No, not at all. She just left him. You know what she was trying to do? She was trying to force a family that was not meant to be.
Huh.
And she was squeezing me for money when I started working. I started teaching again. I was working there, and I was working at Toys R Us. I applied for both jobs the same day, and I took the Toys R Us job because they called me first. And I heard a few people that had sought to see me there, and a few people, meaning the scumbag that murdered my son. out of my son's life, that's because I wasn't working. I was so saddened and so embarrassed to give her a call and say, listen, I'm flat broke. I can't get my son right now. My car's parked at a friend's, my friend Christie parked down at his house in Spring Lake, which is about 15 minutes from here, behind his house, so it wouldn't get repoed. It wasn't insured. I wasn't going to drive it uninsured. That's why I took the two jobs. I hustled it, and I got the money, and as soon as I got the money, boom, I went to go get him. And when I went to get my son, the way he looked at me when he saw me, it breaks my heart, but it made me feel good, like he missed me so much. He was left-handed like my father, and he reached into his right pocket, which is funny. He took this little plastic fork, a little toy fork from a little place that's maybe like 2 inches long. He had it in his pocket, and he pulls it out with his left hand, and he gives it to me. It's like he found some kind of value in that little fork. It meant something to him, and I got to give Dad this. You know, he gave it to me, he hugged me, and he was just, as soon as he saw me and I pulled up and I stepped out, he had the biggest smile that grew on his face, and he just held me and held me and held me, and I was holding him, and I was trying not to let him see me tear up. There's something I want to add. I don't know how much time we have left.
Well, we're almost up on a commercial break. Is this something you want to hang on for a quick break?
Sure, we can hold on for that.
Okay, because we're coming right up on that time, and this is just a quick break. This is a very heartbreaking story we have here. We're going to take a very brief pause for the cause here. This is Steve Sumner with Dovgala Radio. You know, I'm choking up just even looking at pictures of this little boy. He reminds me of my son so much. Steve Sumner for Dovgala Radio, Canada, USA, along with John Anderson and Becky Kemble. We do fight evil. We're trying to expose the bad people out there. We're trying to bring justice to so many. And we need to take a very quick pause. We will be right back with our special guest this evening, Mr. Nick Chavez. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Silverman Slims, your #1 review dealer. We offer Google reviews, Yelp reviews, Facebook review, website reviews, and more. And for a price that no one can beat. Want to make your business grow? Want to gain better SEO business profile? This is the right place to go. With top-notch service, they get the job done. Real reviews written by real people. That's Silverman Slim, the best and only place to go for the best price in review sales. Making businesses grow is our business. www.silvermanslim.com.
All right. Thank you very much for coming back to our broadcast. This is the second half of the show with Mr. Nick Chavez. Just a special reminder, this is Steve Sumner with Dovgala Radio and beating the drums of justice. We do have a special GoFundMe /Save This Child, GoFundMe.com/Save This Child. We're trying to keep a little girl out of the hands of the abuser with whom she is forced to live with. And we hear so many of these stories. It's incredible. But I've got Mr. Nick Chavez on the phone for the second half of our interview. And I believe we left off where he was asking his beautiful little boy, 3 years old, who was brutally murdered. But at one point, I believe, Nick, you were asking your child about abuse or whether he was hit, something along those lines, correct?
Yes. Because I know how traumatic asking a child, such questions can be. It could be damaging, and you don't want to approach it in a manner that's going to, harm him in in any way, mentally scar him or anything. But I had to ask because my ex wasn't giving me straight answers. So we were sitting down and we just finished assembling a truck that he had got, it was like a little model truck type thing that put together, and he was really excited with that. And then we were just, the two of us were at my parents' house, and we're watching this, we're flipping your channels. I'm like, son, anything you want to watch, anything you want to watch, you want to walk into it. And I'm flipping the channels, and there's this show on PBS about these cars, retro race cars, and he's like, ooh, race cars. I'm like, okay, you know what, that's fun, so we're watching it. And I was sitting in my dad's recliner, and he was sitting right on my lap. I put one leg up, and my son would sit in the little space that your leg makes with the other leg. He would sit right there, and he'd push his head back, like every now and then for a kiss. Because, he just felt sick, and he would grab my arm and pull it around him some more, just so he'd feel safe. And it was heartbreaking, because, it was sweet, but I was just thinking, like, he felt so safe, and, like, it was just a reassurance that I wasn't going to negatively hurt him, And we're watching that, and he turns to me and goes, Dad, why do you eat soda? I eat soda. He still didn't have that drink thing down yet, but he wanted soda, and I wouldn't give him soda that much. It was like a treat, like any parent would, just...
Yeah, at 3, yeah.
With anything in moderation. So,
right.
Let's see what we have, son. I don't know. Let me see. So, I went to the fridge. My parents really don't get soda either, so they did just something from Target's little Halloween candy corn flavored sodas, and they're like half pint type things. And my son, there's only one here, but it's you're welcome to it. So I bring him back into the living room, we're watching it, open it up, and I give it to him, and then he's like, he gives it to me like to share, and then he takes it back, and he's sharing. He just felt sweet, and we were having a good time, and then I'm like, the show ended, and then I'm like, I need to ask him, but I got to be careful about it. And then I said, son, I sat him down, like, Dad needs to talk to you. And the thing is, children understand a lot more than they're given credit for. If you talk to a child, you don't need to speak always in baby talk. You can talk to them. They get you,
Absolutely.
If they don't get you, you can have a bond with them and feel you, and they know what you're getting at. So I sit him down, and we're sitting on the couch, and I'm like, son, is somebody, and I gave him control of the situation, somebody, I used my hand, and I put his hand around my wrist, and I said, is somebody hitting?
Hi, Nick, are you there? Okay.
Yes, I'm here. He put it like those, is somebody hitting you at mommy's? And I was signing a little bit too while I was saying it, but once he got it, Steve, it was just one of those things that just like, I had to pull him close to me so he couldn't see any tears, because I don't want him to, but son, it's okay, it's okay. And then shortly after that, I was on the phone with his mother again, asking him, because once he got it, what I was saying, a little, those little kid frowns, I get the frowns when like they're about to cry, and they're heartbreaking, to see that. He had a little frown that formed, and it was like, he looked at me almost like, Dad, my boobs will be warm, why am I getting hit, and it was horrible, but I had to ask, and she gave me the same story over and over again that she gave me until the end, and that was exactly it. It was, he's the one who did it, but she's the one that allowed it.
Right.
So they should both be held accountable. And like I said, I'm not done. And I know that anything that in a situation like this, if anybody wants to fight for something, they stick with it. It will happen. They just got to stay with it. It's like that water breaking the levee, the dam. There's enough pressure, it's going to break. And I've put so much pressure over the years. I'm coming up on, I think, And
Yeah.
I've been on it since like 2010. I finally got it after being unemployed and trying to barely make it on unemployment, and then I applied for it. And when I applied for it initially, I didn't do it right because I was doing it by myself. I needed help because I didn't have all my faculties there. My son was taken from me. He was like my everything, and my son was all that mattered when he, was live, and he still matters to me. I still think about him. I always do things for him. When this first happened, and I actually stopped it, but it actually happened back in October. I used to find myself in the toy department of toy stores, not toy stores, of a store, looking at cars to buy him, and I'm like, why am I here? And it was not like even like a conscious effort. It was just like I would find myself there looking for cars that he would like, and
Yeah.
and I still buy him cars every now and then, and I know that he's no longer here, but I buy him because I know he would like him. And I have a love seat with that's just for him, and it's his old toys, and I can't let go. It's tough, and some people
Yeah.
like maybe you should give those toys away, help him move on, but
Man.
they're part of that. They're his, and I miss him so much, and I'm fighting for him with all I've got, and he was my everything, Steve. I mean, he was a little boy. You have children. It's a love you can't explain.
You don't forget. This isn't something, and what you're doing is absolutely normal in my opinion. Nick, let me go back to a question that's been bothering me here a little bit, because we were talking about how the assistant prosecutor, Marcia Silva, if I'm not mistaken, she did prosecute Knudsen, for the crime. Obviously this is something that's very fishy there. I think she was on the right, but she never brought any type of charges, nothing for negligence or nothing against your ex. I don't get it. I mean, they haven't found her responsible for anything.
I don't know if you know this or not, Steve, but the trial, it wasn't easy. First of all, the trial started in 2007, and it was in October. My grandmother was in New Mexico, and she wanted to see my son. We were trying to get out there because my parents are from out that way, and she was passing away. She was on her deathbed, but we had to go to court. My grandmother's like, no, go to the courts for Nikolas. She loved all the things she said, and she couldn't let, but it was third, he was on her deathbed, and we went to court, and then just to be let down for a mistrial. The evidence was so stacked and so there. It's like it seemed like it was like the OJ trials. Like all the evidence is there, and then when you see the jury come to their decision, you're like, what the hell just happened? And it was like that, and it was just like a big letdown. And then we had to go. We took the train out to New Mexico because my father's got he's got a few things going on with him, and he really can't handle flying. So we took the train out. We barely caught my grandmother when she passed away, but that was the first trial, and that was Chavez. And she's the one who took us to another room, not in the courthouse, when there was other rooms that she could have taken us to, and I know there was for a fact. She took us to another building, and it was a mirrored building. That's how vivid it sticks in my head. Mirrored building to a room that is used to keep old desks, tables, chairs in. And then first thing out of her mouth was, do you have any recording devices on you? That's not something you ask a family that's grieving and that you're trying to get stuff out of, that you're trying to get, something you can use against this monster. And then we proceeded to, talk about what's going on, and that we know he did it, and we started talking negative stuff about my ex, about all of the lies and everything that, this was so preventable. This is 100% preventable.
Right. If she would have, sorry to cut in, but it seems to me And I've seen this in many cases personally, that if the mother would call the father and say, look, I have to do something tonight, but again, the root of all evil in these tragedies seems to be parental alienation, anything to keep the dad away. I do have to go back, though, and forgive me, because I don't understand how they could not at least try to get this woman for neglect. But nothing like that came up?
Well, this is the thing, what I was about to say. When we were saying this about the preventable, and we were saying stuff about my ex, that, she lied to us, there was all these bathtub falls, they didn't coincide with what we were doing in court so far. And she goes, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to stop you right there. I'm not going to entertain anything negative you have to say about her.
Whoa.
And then she said this, and that's evidence. That's not anything negative. I'm not going to entertain. We're not here to entertain you, man. Miss Chavez, we're here to. This is evidence. And she said, I'm a woman's advocate. After that, okay. So you're drawing the law, laying down the law right there. Like, you're a woman's advocate. You're siding with her. So that's not right at all. And she took us earshot out of everybody and made sure that we weren't recording anything. And this is
wow.
The corruption that goes on with this kind of stuff. And
yeah.
we were too trusting, and I should have, in retrospect, voiced my opinion. I should have said more. I could have said more. If she said, no, I don't want Judge Prosecutor. She's a rotten egg, and she's siding with my ex. I don't want her. But I was so not, there's parts of me mentally I wasn't all there, even though I recall everything. It was just like I was trusting that they were doing the right thing. I mean, you see that she's a prosecutor. You see that they're from the state of New Jersey. You think that they're, just because, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, because I have a lot of friends that are cops and they're great guys. Just because the cops wearing a badge doesn't mean they're good people. They can be evil, But you trust that they're doing the right thing. And she ran it the way she wanted to, and it went to mistrial. A mistrial, the evidence was like stacked against this monster. He should have got locked up. And had my ex stepped forward, she would have got charged with child endangerment. She probably would have got marked as an accessory as well, and would have served time. But it was designed to protect my ex, and not the interest of getting justice for my son. I mean, my ex she showed up, but barely at the parole hearings and didn't offer much. It's very telling, the whole thing, and it needs to be exposed. And that's why this time with you, Steve, I'm being more forthcoming with a lot of the things I'm saying. I'm saying as much as I can without incriminating myself either. But there's nothing. I'm telling the truth. All this stuff you can go back and look at. The missing biomechanical report, the way we were treated, the Dr. Bodden calling my son retarded, and all these other things. They're all in print. The court stenographer got everything. It's factual stuff, and my son's case needs to be reopened. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, and my son was murdered, and the circumstances are it's not a close case. And like I said to you earlier when we spoke, I don't see any detectives out there looking to try to find out who did it. They know who did it. They know Robert Knudsen did it, and they just he got away with it for now. He got away with it for now. I'm still not done with him. I keep on fighting, and I know I will get the results that I need. And I've been offered to be on various talk shows. Dr. Phil, Steve Wilkos. They contacted me and they said, well, we don't want to get you in trouble or anything, but we'll contact whoever we know. They found me, and they're like, we'll contact whoever we have to we'll pay for whatever they need, and their transportation, airfare, whichever. To get them there, we'll even pay them money to be there, but no response. And that's, again, the guilt, the silence totally reeks the guilt. It's very, just their their non-actions show how guilty they are. And I don't know how she can live with herself. I really don't. I mean, I'm not a violent person, but had that been me and I was in her position and my own flesh and blood died at my hands because I didn't act or lied, I couldn't live with myself, Steve. I would have jumped off a bridge or something. I mean, I'm just saying that, you know what I mean. I couldn't live with myself. I couldn't. It just, I don't know how she sleeps at night.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
But,
I think.
Is there anything else we could touch on? I mean, I have
Well,
a lot more, but I mean,
here's one question. I mean, did the prosecutor, Maria, did she happen to hold back on any charges? Because usually they try to see the problem that you're going to have now from, and I'm certainly not an attorney, but I hear enough of the cases and I look at enough, legal cases and legal statutes and everything else, and it seems to me what the problem you're going to be facing is double jeopardy. He's already been tried and convicted for the crime, so there is no reopening the same crime. What they do,
exactly.
They do.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
We want to charge him with murder in the first.
Okay.
That was not charged with. That's what we're trying to take him down with. I mean, those are some serious guns I'm wielding there, and he needs to be taken down. And I'm not backing down. I know that. I was actually expecting that question as you brought it because it was developing. Yeah, no, he's been charged with manslaughter, reckless manslaughter, and child endangerment was the third thing they brought in. He was charged with four things, three things, and they brought in child endangerment. They got him with that. That would just seem like let's bring in a mild charge just in case he gets anything. And it was, the really weird thing is when he was charged with it, it looks like he was totally expecting it. Like, maybe his lawyer told him before, but it seemed like he just knew that he was going to serve anyway. That was it. And, per the arrangement. And I know I'm being very frank about it. I know there was a lot of under the table dealings and a lot of just backroom dealings that just were not brought in by us. And we also believe somehow my ex's little brother was involved somehow because there's something about it. There's something that it just seems like it was all fit puzzles made by them, and they just put it together themselves, and they left it out of the loop on a lot of things, and I'm his father. I should have been allowed to be there for everything. The prosecutor, the first time, Chavez, she's like, Nick, you're going to need to sit on the court when Nicole does why? And it was one of those that you're like, oh, there's some BS attached to that. She's like, well, we might need you later. My ex proceeded to take the stand, slammed me, decorated him. You would think this: a mother's child was killed. She has to take the stand to defend a child. A mother would lie, cheat, or steal to protect her own children. Like, I'm not saying to lie or steal, but I'm saying she would give it her all. She would go out, yes, we had this suspicion, he's untrusted, Nikolas was afraid of them, but she actually decorated him because, he was very good with them, and he helped me a lot, and he was very, he's the one who is tagged murdering your son, and you're decorated, and then she totally bashed me. My mother and my sister were in there. They heard the whole thing. She bashed me, and my mother and sister is shaking her head back and forth, is mouthing no, and she was trying to avert her eyes to my mom and sister, but it's kind of hard to. I mean, my mom and sister were there. They were livid that the lies were just coming out like that. It's horrible. I mean, the whole thing is, it's like I said, I'm not looking for the double jeopardy thing. I know that
that's going to hold you up. Yeah.
In charge of that. I'm going for murder the first. He's got to be taken down, and I don't know if you know. I didn't mention this to you before. He moved out to Maryland, out to
Oh man, I believe it. So it's just incredible, and let me tell you that from looking at your petition, you and I aren't the only ones outraged by this 4-year sentence for what happened to this little boy. Your petition has already garnered 7,852 supporters. Okay, this is heading out. This is directed at the New Jersey Office of the Attorney General, the Division of Criminal Justice, and everyone wants justice for your baby. We need this case to be reopened. I'm not sure on what grounds, but you can find the petition, and we'll get into that in a second, but we can find the petition at change.org. And again, please, if you're out there, people are just absolutely livid. Some of the comments here with over 7,000 supporters, is, people are, as one person said, just sick and tired of babies being hurt and people getting away with it. You hurt a kid, you murder a child. I'm sorry, how much worse does it get? Life in prison or the death penalty. I'm sorry, but 4 years, it is just beyond. It's a joke. It is. It is just beyond ridiculous. So your petition is online. There's a picture of your beautiful son there. And again, with over 7,800 supporters, and I hope people go there and support you. And I do have to wonder, though, because, again, having had many conversations with state attorneys and in trying to get justice in other cases, they always throw the double jeopardy thing in your face. It's always, they forget the, any type of miscarriage of justice. Did it seem possible? Were you able to talk to someone in the prosecutor's office where they would say, maybe we could do that? I mean, what are they looking for? More evidence, more media support? I mean, you think there's something we can...
What's weird about this? When this first happened, we were told not to go to the media. We were like, don't go to the media, don't. And had we gone to the media, my son would probably have the justice he deserved. I mean, not that he deserved, because his true justice is bringing my son back. And like I said before, that's not happening. But he would have gotten enough where everyone would have known the case, and they would have got people, possibly a better jury, and they would have known about it. I mean, a lot of these cases that are like, they're sitting, that people are getting, you're right, they're getting away with murder, and society, the legal system, they're setting a precedent for what people can do and get away with. Like the Casey Anthony thing, although she's kind of like her own living hell right now, she can't leave her house, and, she can't live a normal life. And I'm proud to say, from my hard work, I've done a lot so this monster can't just cruise around like, he's done nothing. And I'll keep going until I get what I need to get done. But yeah, the precedent needs to be reset. We need a higher bar. There's got to be more consequence for these actions, for these atrocities.
Nick, I hate, just, bear with me, because I don't want to play devil's advocate, but I'm trying to understand the legalities of it, and obviously knowing lawyers and, did they reserve anything that they could use that would not constitute double jeopardy that could be used against this man? Because if this is the case, and they can use something else that would not fall under the safety umbrella of double jeopardy, then you would definitely have a fighting chance. But have you spoken to anyone in the prosecutor's office, anyone who would say, well, we might be able to do this? You said murder in the first degree, but it sounds like if he's been convicted of manslaughter, that wouldn't apply. Then he definitely would be subject to protection under the double jeopardy clause.
The evidence that's missing, the biomechanical report, when I got that call on February 3rd, 2006, and they said, sit down, we need to tell you your son did die of mental causes, was murdered. Your son was brutally murdered.
Wow.
My son had scratches on his face. And we also think that there was domestic abuse going on between my ex and Robert Munson, because he had scratches on his face, and they said they were from my son. Those are scratches on his face were not fine little baby nails. They were gouges from my ex's mornings. He's plain to see it. But my son was trying to fight back, so he was running. Yeah, so that
Wow.
is missing. And I know it's out there. I know it's out there somewhere. It's just, I've been requesting it, and I keep getting like the runaround with that. And it's out there. I mean, that was the evidence that was given to us by the detectives back in February of 2006. So it's out there. That could be brought in. But I mean, the fact that we're not going for the same charges. We're going for murder. What he did. When you take a life, it's murder. Like that. And my son was murdered. I mean, the detectives told me he was murdered. I don't know why they went for manslaughter. And
Yeah, this I don't understand either.
Crime of passion happens, and a bit of anger, and it's just, you get it.
I don't get it.
It shouldn't have to be like a little, where they mince words and punishments are less than it's just.
Nick, and that's shocking. The allegations that this poor little 3-year-old boy was actually running away, that there was previous abuse, obviously that he's been separated from his father. I have to wonder too. You mentioned the O.J. case, and as you know, O.J. is thankfully in jail right now for civil suit brought against him. Yeah, have you considered a civil tort placed against this guy, against Nunton?
I think the civil thing is past its statute of limitations.
Okay.
The murder thing isn't out of the question, and either is the whole thing with what he did to the little boy in Maryland. If the grandmother would come to her senses and say, he did do it, which he did, and the daughter did. She was in contact with one of my advocates, and she knows he believes he did it too. But she's got a substance abuse problem. She's really not in any shape to. That's why the baby's not in her care anymore, and the baby's adopted. But I mean, if the grandmother of that kid would speak up and say, "Listen, I know he did it," they would take him away like that. But there's a few things that they need more to work with for that. But no, I know that he could still be charged, and I'm not giving up hope. I mean, karma does exist, and like you said with OJ, I mean, he's locked up now, and he came back around, and he's spending the rest of his life behind bars, and that's what I'm gonna do to Robert Nunson. He doesn't deserve to be out. He doesn't deserve to be amongst us. I mean, I don't know if anybody who would recognize him on the street would cringe if they knew what he did.
Right.
If he's like at some, whether it be like the movies or carnival with his children around, and just not knowing what he's done. If they knew, they would. I guarantee would grab their children and head the other way.
Yeah. The fact.
Knowing what's out there, what evil works, and you don't even know it. Horrible.
Yeah. And you have to forgive me. I wasn't even thinking, because the case is about 7 years old. So yeah, any civil remedy for tort would have expired by now. Absolutely.
We did try to sue it was DIFUS, then they changed the name of it. The DIFUS is the New Jersey Child Services out there in New Jersey, or it used to be. But my son was actually, I left this part out. This is a big part. My son, when I went to pick up my son one time, my aunt told me, Nikolas has a hairline
On,
people listen to it.
on the face of it, it contradicts exactly what he was saying. If he was already, if your son was already, I mean, fatally wounded, you know, and you know, what does that have to do with him falling out of the crib in a way? You know what I mean? What was the cause of the fatality? You know, it seems like a very contradictory thing. Like they're changing the story. Oh well, he was already bleeding internally when he got there. Now, oh no, it happens that it was something that happened while under the care of this man. So yeah, that right there would definitely raise questions in my mind. Also raising questions is how it is that the mother hasn't been held accountable, it doesn't seem, in any way, shape, or form for just putting her son with this person.
In harm's way.
In harm's way, yeah.
Knowing that. And thinking that she's almighty, that she's going to be able to say, listen, you know, I didn't trust you before, and I took him away from you on him. Now I'm going to trust you again, and you better not do it again. And sure enough, he does it. And I got a point here. I had a point to make places, and I forgot it. The detectives, when they told me that my son was running and trying to fight back, they said that my son was punched and kicked in the abdomen and in the back.
Jeez.
All his belly and are ruptured, but the red blood cells rushed to his belly, and his belly was distended. And oh, get this. This is what a great, I'm being sarcastic, job, the bang-up job the prosecution did. The first trial, they projected evidence on the wall with my son cut open. I had to see that. They had plenty of time because they were right next to my ex there. They had plenty of time to tell her don't look, but I could see my son cut open on the screen. And that's like lost in my head.
God.
You know? Yeah, it's horrible. I see my son dissected, you know?
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, after I looked, my eyes already got, they're like, trying to get my attention there, but she was already, when I looked away, I see that she was already looked. So they got her out okay, but to me, I didn't matter, I guess. So I got to see that. I mean, once you see that, it's not great. So, you know, it's not going anywhere. So I had that. But, yeah, the detective said that my son was kicked and punched in the back and the abdomen. My son's spinal cord was broken between the L2 and the L4, two breaks. Two breaks. It's like a fist-sized break would do that. Even like a kick from a sneaker or some kind of shoe. You know, it's just,
Right.
They said he was beaten to death.
Yeah.
What's common. And they're trying to say that he was, you know, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. He needs.
Yeah, nobody noticed before before this guy took over. Nobody noticed that this type of incredible injury happened to the child. That makes no sense whatsoever to me. That's ridiculous.
The doctor, Dr. DiCarlo, is the state pathologist. He was insistent on saying it happened when he was in his care. He was very precise. He wasn't getting paid big money. Dr. Martin, he was getting paid. I found out he made about $75,000 off that case.
Huh.
That's a lot. I mean, and money does to make people act evil, and he was totally like trying to know what happened, and you know this, that, throwing his. You hire somebody that has an HBO show because you're trying to get. He was obviously guilty, and he had a final pass. He actually in high school. I didn't find it out until after. Actually, I knew about it, but I didn't know it was that bad. He bragged to me that he put somebody in the hospital. I don't know, when I first met him years ago, and he said, "Yeah, I put somebody in the hospital that I beat him up in school." I found out that he beat this kid so bad that he actually rendered this person
Wow.
This person's never the same again. And he's locked it
Wow.
off. And that's big. It's, you know, the parents, it's on the parents too. I mean, the parents have to be like, you know, they need to be responsible and say, listen, you need to pay for what you've done. You know, instead of getting they know he's bad. You know, he's done it before, and then he's done it again. It just building's frustrating.
Absolutely.
The whole thing about money is evil. You know, it's like what people do for money.
Absolutely.
And,
yeah.
Root of all evil.
Absolutely, and the courts are so corrupt. We are coming up at the end of the show. We're down to the last couple of minutes here. Man, I can't even begin to tell you how my heart goes out in this. Hold the thought for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and give my thanks and support to everyone. I'll give you the last word, okay, Nick? So bear in mind. You can promote whatever you want and say whatever you want in just a minute, okay?
Okay, sure.
Because we are coming up at the end of the show. Thank you so very much to our listeners. I appreciate you being here for us. This is Steve Sumner with Dovgala, Canada, USA, along with John Anderson and Becky Kemble. We fight evil. Dovgala Radio. Founder of Beating the Drums is Becky Kemble. And the CEO and host of Brothers United Against Child Abuse is John Anderson. My name is Steve Sumner. We are promoting a special cause again. If you folks can spare any type of help for saving a child, there is a special fund that we are using. It's at GoFundMe.com/Save This Child. GoFundMe.com/Save This Child. And I'm going to give you the last word, Nick. This is just incredible. I hope we get our listeners to go in and add their support to this petition, that something can be done, anything, to get this story out there. And I hope that you'll be able to come back to do a follow-up. Maybe, you know, if Dr. Phil takes up the quest, or if Steve Wilkes or anyone. You know, we'd love to hear what happens and what type of progress you're making.
I would gladly come back any time. I mean, and update you on any progress. And this isn't over, as we told the prosecutor, the first prosecutor, Chavez. This isn't over. We're still here. We're not going anywhere. That's the thing. We're not going anywhere. We're going to stay and fight this until we get what we need to get done for my son. And my whole family's behind me. And all my friends are behind me. And a lot of my friends repost my son, and I share others' children's stories on my son's page that I help them. I've actually helped a few children who were in abusive situations, and I'm very proud of that because they're alive, you know, and they didn't get to see what my son did, unfortunately. My son's page is on Facebook, True Justice for Nikolas Chavez III. Nikolas. And there's a petition on there. You can find a petition. It's on the page, and it's True Justice for Nikolas as well. You can find it online, but it's also on the Facebook page. There's a few YouTube videos up there. You can find those. Nikolas Chavez. Just if you do a search, you can find those. And one thing I want to say is actually for a friend of mine who I told you I'd get a show for him. I helped with the benefit show. Mm-hmm. His son he was born with a heart defect, and he's been going through operations since he was an infant, and he's still going through some. His name's Xavier Ross, and my friend, his name's Nikolas. He takes a lot for all these operations, and, you know, if anybody would like to stop by and visit his page, show some love at least, you know, that'd be much appreciated. But I'm still fighting for my son, and I'm not giving up. And any parent that's out there, male, female, I'm sure you get it. And
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'd gladly come back.
Great, good. Hopefully we'll come back with some type of resolution and something will happen. We have had very good turnouts, well, very good response from our shows where people have come forth with evidence in murder trials, things of that nature. So this is working. People are getting the word out. Nick, again, my heart goes out to you, my friend. I really don't even know what to say about this. It's so heartbreaking. Folks, please visit his page. Look at the petition that is going right out to Governor Christie. Join over 7,000 people who have already voiced their opinion on how tragic it is that this man, this Robert Nunton, can get away with killing this 3-year-old baby and is doing 4 years for it, and he will soon be free. But we are out of time. Again, this is Steve Sumner with Block of Radio and Beating the Drums for Justice. Thank you so much for listening to our broadcast. We will see you soon. Have a great evening, folks, and thanks again, Nick.